Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Cat. I'm Anna.
And I'm Leo. We are so happy you're here with us today. Just take a deep breath, sit back, and relax. Maybe you are walking in a park right now, or maybe you are sitting on your sofa with a warm cup of tea. Wherever you are, just enjoy this moment with us.
Today, we have a very special topic. It's something I think many of you worry about. We're going to talk about how to improve your vocabulary without memorizing long, boring lists of words.
Oh, I remember those lists from school, Anna. They were the worst. I used to write 50 words on a piece of paper and try to remember them all by Friday. By Saturday morning, honestly, I forgot 45 of them.
Exactly. It's so stressful, isn't it? It feels like work. And when English feels like work, it's hard to stay motivated. We want to show you that learning words can be natural. It can be like noticing the flowers grow in your garden. You don't force it, you just watch it happen.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So let's just have a cozy chat today. No exams, no pressure. Just some stories and ideas to help you grow your English naturally.
You know, Leo, I was thinking about this morning. I went to that small cafe down the street. The one with the blue door?
Oh, I love that place. They have the best cinnamon rolls.
They really do. But I noticed something. There was a sign on the table. It said, "Please bus your own dishes." And I thought about our listeners. A word like bus usually means a big yellow vehicle that takes you to school or work. But here, in the cafe, it was a verb. It meant to clear the table.
That's a perfect example. If you only study a dictionary, you might never learn that. But because you were there, smelling the coffee, seeing the empty plates, the word bus suddenly made sense in a new way.
Exactly. I didn't sit down and study the word. I just saw it in real life. And that's the secret, isn't it? Context.
It really is. I think that's why memorizing lists feels so difficult. When you have a list of 20 words on a white piece of paper, those words have no home. They are like people standing in a cold, empty room. They don't have a story.
That's so true. When I was learning my second language, I tried to memorize the word for clumsy. I kept forgetting it. Then, one day I was at a friend's house and I accidentally knocked over a glass of water. My friend laughed and said, "Oh, don't worry, you're just a bit clumsy today."
Oh no. But I bet you never forgot the word after that.
Never. Because now that word has a memory. It has the sound of the glass hitting the floor, the feeling of being a little embarrassed, and the sound of my friend's voice. That's a sticky word now. It's stuck to my brain because of the experience. I think many learners feel like they are failing if they don't study for 2 hours a day with a textbook. But honestly, I think you learn more by just living your life in English. Like when you go shopping. Do you ever look at the labels on things, Anna? All the time, especially at the grocery store. I love looking at the descriptions of food. Instead of just spicy, they might use words like zesty or fiery.
Fiery. That's a great word. It sounds like fire. You can almost feel the heat in your mouth just by reading it. And if you see a picture of a chili pepper next to it, you don't need a translation. Your brain just connects the image, the feeling, and the word.
And that's so much more powerful than writing fiery equals very hot in a notebook. You know, I noticed that when I'm relaxed, I learn much faster. When I was in school, I was always worried about the grade. My brain felt tight, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's like trying to catch a bird. If you run after it screaming, it flies away. But if you sit quietly in the garden, the bird might just land on your shoulder. Vocabulary is the same. If you relax and just listen or read for fun, the words start to land on you.
I love that image, Leo. Let's talk about daily routines for a bit. Most of us do the same things every day. We wake up, we make coffee, we check our phones. How can we use those moments?
Well, think about your phone. Most people have their phones set to their native language. But what if you changed it to English?
That sounds a bit scary for a B1 learner. What if they get lost in the settings?
Well, you already know where everything is, right? You know that the green button means call and the red icon is delete. You aren't learning the function. You're just learning the English name for something you already do. After 2 days, you don't even think about it. You see settings and you just know it means the place where you change things. You aren't translating. You are experiencing.
That's a great point. It's about building an English environment. I do something similar when I'm cooking. I like to find recipes in English on YouTube.
Oh, me too. Although sometimes the chefs talk so fast.
They do, but you don't need to understand every single word. If the chef says, whisk the eggs until they are fluffy, and you see them using a tool to mix the eggs quickly, you understand what whisk means. You see the eggs getting bigger and lighter, so you understand fluffy. And the best part is, at the end, you have a delicious meal. It's a reward for your learning. Exactly. And it's not just cooking, it's everything. I have a friend who is learning English, and she told me she started following home decor accounts on Instagram. She loves looking at beautiful houses.
That's smart, because she's interested in the topic, right?
Exactly. She looks at pictures of cozy living rooms, and the captions say things like, I love this minimalist style, or this rug makes the room feel so vibrant. She isn't trying to study, she's just enjoying the photos. But slowly, words like minimalist and vibrant become part of her world.
I think that's the key. Interest. If you try to read a boring news article about economics just because you want to learn English, you will probably fall asleep. I would fall asleep. But if you read a blog post about your favorite hobby, maybe it's gardening or vintage cars or kittens, you actually want to understand.
Yes, your curiosity is stronger than your tiredness. I remember when I was obsessed with a certain TV show. I wanted to know what happened in the next episode so badly that I started reading fan forums online. There were so many words I didn't know, but I didn't care. I just kept reading because I wanted to know if the main characters finally got married.
Did they?
They did. But the point is, I learned words like cliffhanger and plot twist without ever looking them up. I just realized through the conversation what they meant.
Plot twist. That's a good one. Life is full of plot twists, isn't it? Like the time I thought I was buying sugar at the market, but I actually bought salt.
Oh no, Leo, not the salt story again.
It was a very big mistake. I was in a foreign country, and the packaging was all in the local language. I saw a picture of a cake on the bag, so I assumed it was sugar. I went home, made a big pot of coffee for my friends, and put 3 big spoons of sugar in.
I can imagine their faces.
It was terrible. But I learned the word for salt in that language very, very quickly. I never forgot it again. Sometimes making a mistake is the best way to learn.
It really is. We shouldn't be afraid of mistakes. They are just stories in the making. I remember once I was trying to tell a friend that I was embarrassed about something, but I used a word that sounded like pregnant in her language.
Oh, that's a classic mistake.
It was so funny once we realized the confusion. We laughed for 10 minutes. And now, every time I use the word embarrassed, I think of that moment and I smile. It's a happy memory now, not a scary one.
I think that's something we should tell our listeners. Don't be afraid to look a little silly. When you laugh, your brain opens up. It becomes easier to take in new information. If you are stiff and worried about being perfect, your brain kind of shuts down. So true. Let's talk a bit about social media and the internet, because we all spend so much time there. It can be a bit of a trap, but it can also be a gold mine for vocabulary.
It really can. I like to watch short videos. You know, the 60-second ones? They are great because they are short. If I don't understand something, I can just watch it again. It's not like a 2-hour movie where you feel lost after 10 minutes.
And the language is so modern. You hear how people actually talk. They use phrases like, I'm obsessed with this, or this is a total game changer.
Game changer. I love that phrase. It's so much more descriptive than just saying, this is very good and different.
Exactly. And you hear it used in so many ways. Someone might say a new vacuum cleaner is a game changer, or a new way of organizing your closet is a game changer. You start to see the pattern.
I noticed that I learn a lot of words by reading the comments section too. I know people say the comments can be mean sometimes, but they are also full of real English. You see how people react to things. You see slang, and you see how people agree or disagree.
Just be careful not to learn the mean words.
Good point. Keep it positive. But even just seeing someone write, I totally relate to this, is helpful. You see that relate is used with to. You didn't have to study a grammar book to see that. You just saw it 20 times under a video about how hard it is to wake up early.
I totally relate. That's a great phrase for our listeners to use. It means I understand because I feel the same way. And honestly, I think we can all relate to the struggle of learning a language.
We definitely can. You know, Anna, I was thinking about how people use music to learn. Some people try to translate every single word of a song. That sounds like a lot of work to me.
It does. I think it's better to just let the music play. Maybe you only understand the chorus, the part that repeats, but that chorus will stay in your head all day. You'll find yourself humming it while you're brushing your teeth. I'm singing in the rain. And suddenly, you know the word rain and the word singing, and they are connected to a melody. Later, when you see rain outside your window, that song might pop into your head. The word rain isn't just a translation anymore. It has a sound, a rhythm.
I find that very relaxing. Music is so emotional, and our brains love emotions. That's why we remember the lyrics to songs we haven't heard in 10 years, but we can't remember what we studied in a textbook last Tuesday.
It's all about making English a part of your inner world, not just something you do for an hour at a desk. It's about the movies you watch, the songs you hum, and even the way you talk to yourself.
Do you talk to yourself in English, Anna?
Sometimes, usually when I'm looking for my keys, I'll say, "Okay, Anna, where did you put them? Are they on the counter? No. Are they in your jacket pocket?"
That is actually a brilliant tip. Talking to yourself. It sounds a bit crazy, but it's so helpful. There's no pressure because nobody is listening. You can take your time, you can struggle to find a word, and it doesn't matter.
And it helps you find the gaps in your vocabulary. If I'm trying to describe my morning routine to myself and I realize I don't know the word for toaster, then I have a reason to find out. I'll look it up, and because I actually needed it to finish my thought, I'll remember it.
It's that need again. Our brains are very practical. They don't like to hold on to information that they think is useless. If you tell your brain, hey, I need to know the word for this thing that browns my bread every morning, your brain says, okay, that seems important. I'll save that.
Our brains are quite lazy, aren't they? They want to save energy.
They really are. They're like, do I really need to remember the word for ancient ruins right now? No, I'm just eating a sandwich. Let's forget that.
That's why it's so important to connect English to your real life. Like when you're on the bus, instead of looking at your phone, you could look out the window and try to name things you see: tree, stoplight, bicycle, cloud.
And if you see something and you don't know the word, like let's say you see a person walking a very small dog with a little sweater on, you can think, how do I describe that?
A dog sweater? Or maybe a tiny coat? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just the act of trying to find the word wakes up your brain.
I think another thing that helps is reading things that are just.
You know, Leo, I think we should talk about the stress of learning. So many people feel like they aren't moving fast enough. They see people on the internet saying, learn 1,000 words in 30 days.
Oh, those videos drive me crazy. It's not a race. Learning a language is more like walking through a beautiful forest. If you run through it as fast as you can, you won't see the birds or the sunlight through the trees. You'll just arrive at the end, tired and sweaty, and you won't remember anything you passed.
That's such a good point. It's okay to be a slow learner. In fact, slow learning is often deeper learning.
If you only learn 3 new words today, but you really know them, you know how they feel, how they sound, and you've used them in a sentence, that is much better than memorizing 50 words you'll forget by tomorrow.
Quality over quantity. Always. I'd rather have a small, strong toolbox of words I can actually use than a giant warehouse of words I don't understand.
I totally agree. And I think we should remind our listeners to be kind to themselves. If you have a day where you feel like you've forgotten everything, it's okay. Even I have days where I forget simple words in my own language.
Me too. Sometimes I'm looking for the thing you use to flip pancakes.
A spatula?
Yes, a spatula. I'll stand there in the kitchen staring at it and my brain just goes blank. If that happens in our native language, of course it's going to happen in English.
It's just human. It doesn't mean you are losing your English. It just means your brain is a little tired. Take a break. Listen to some music. Go for a walk. The words will come back when they are ready.
You know what else I found really helpful? Using voice notes.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Well, sometimes I'll record a short message to myself on my phone, just 30 seconds. I'll talk about what I did that day. Today, I went to the park. It was a bit chilly, so I wore my favorite scarf.
Chilly. That's a nice word. Not cold, but just a little cold.
Exactly. And then a week later, I listened to it. It's a great way to hear myself and see how I'm using words. And because it's just for me, there's no fear. If I make a mistake, who cares?
That sounds very peaceful. It's like keeping a diary, but with your voice.
It really is. And it helps with that natural feeling. You start to find your own voice in English. You aren't just repeating sentences from a book, you are telling your own story.
I think that's what we all want, right? We want to be ourselves in English. We don't want to sound like a textbook. We want to be able to share a joke or describe a beautiful sunset or explain why we are feeling a little bit sad today.
And those are the words that matter, the words that help us connect with other people. You don't need a massive vocabulary for that. You just need the right words for your life.
I notice that when I travel, I learn the most practical words, like platform or departure or delay.
Delay is a very common word at airports, unfortunately.
It is. But when you're standing at the train station looking at the big screen and you see the word delayed in red letters next to your train, you learn that word instantly. You feel the frustration of it. That emotion makes the word stick.
It's funny how that works. The bad experiences often teach us the most. But let's try to focus on the good ones too, like going to a bakery.
Oh, I love bakeries. All the different types of bread and pastries.
Pastries? That's a lovely word. It sounds so fancy. And flaky? You know when you bite into a croissant and it breaks into 1,000 tiny pieces? Yes, that's flaky. See, just by describing the feeling of eating a croissant, we've learned a great adjective. And we didn't need a list. We just needed a croissant, which honestly is much better than a list.
Everything is better with a croissant. You know, Leo, I think we should talk about the power of noticing. It's like a superpower for language learners.
Noticing. But it's true, isn't it? Words have feelings, and when you learn them through stories or movies or real life conversations, you catch those feelings. That's something a dictionary can't give you. A dictionary tells you what a word means, but life tells you how a word feels.
That is so true. I think that's why I love reading novels, even if they are simple ones. You spend so much time with the characters that you start to learn how they speak. You start to predict what they will say.
And that's when you know you're really learning, when you can guess what's coming next.
I think some people are afraid to read because they think it will be too hard. But you can start so small. Even reading the back of a cereal box or a shampoo bottle can be a learning experience.
Oh, I always read the shampoo bottle in the shower. Apply to wet hair, lather, and rinse.
Lather. That's a very specific word. You only really use it for soap and shampoo. But because you see it every morning while you're half asleep in the shower, you eventually learn it without even trying.
That's the passive learning we're talking about. It's happening all around us if we just keep our eyes and ears open. It's about turning down the study brain and turning up the curiosity brain.
And staying relaxed. I think that's the most important part. If you're enjoying yourself, you're learning. If you're laughing at a comedy show in English, you're learning. Even if you don't understand every joke, your brain is getting used to the rhythm and the sounds.
I actually think watching comedies is one of the best ways to learn because humor is so much about timing and tone. You learn how to emphasize certain words.
And you learn fillers, those little words we use to fill the space when we're thinking. Like, well, actually, honestly, or,
You know is probably my most used phrase. I use it all the time.
me too. And it's great for learners because it gives you a second to think about what you want to say next. It makes you sound more natural, more human.
Instead of just a long silence while you search for a word, you can just say, well, and it buys you a little time.
Exactly. It's a very useful tool. I think sometimes learners are taught to be too perfect. They think they shouldn't use or but we use them all the time.
All the time. If someone spoke without any ums or wells, they would sound like a robot. And we are definitely not robots.
Speak for yourself, Anna. No, I'm joking. But really, it's those little imperfections that make language beautiful. It's what makes us feel connected.
I agree. I think we should also mention that it's okay to have favorite words. You don't need to use every word in the English language. I have certain words I just like the sound of, so I use them more often.
Like which ones?
I really like the word soothing. It sounds like what it means. It's a very soothing word.
It is. It's like a warm blanket. My favorite might be serendipity. It's a bit of a long word, but it means finding something good without looking for it.
That's a perfect word for our podcast today, because that's what we want for our listeners. We want them to find new words by accident. We want them to have vocabulary serendipity.
Exactly. You're just going about your day and suddenly, boom, you find a great new phrase.
You know, Leo, I was thinking about how people use social media to save things. Like on Pinterest or Instagram, you can save things you like.
I do that with recipes I'll probably never cook.
We all do. But why not do that with English? If you see a quote you like or a funny meme, save it. Not to study it later, but just because you liked it. When you look back at your saved photos, you'll see those English words again and again.
That's a very low pressure way to do it. It's like having a little gallery of English in your pocket. And it's personal. It's things you actually like. That's the most important part. Your English journey should be as unique as you are. I think many people feel like they have to follow a specific path. Like, first I learned level 1, then level 2. But life isn't like that. Life is messy. You might learn a level 5 word today because you saw it on a billboard, and you might still struggle with a level 1 grammar point. And that's okay.
It's totally okay. It's not a ladder, it's an ocean. You're just swimming in it. Sometimes the water is deep, sometimes it's shallow. But as long as you're in the water, you're doing great.
I love that. An ocean of English, and we're all just swimming together.
You know, Leo, I think we should talk about the fear of forgetting. I think that's why people memorize lists. They're afraid that if they don't write it down and study it 10 times, it will disappear forever.
But the truth is, if a word is important, you will see it again. The most common and useful words show up everywhere. If you forget a word today, don't worry. It will come back to you when you need it.
And if it doesn't come back, then maybe you didn't really need it yet. And that's fine too.
Exactly. Trust the process. Trust your brain. It's much smarter than you think. It's constantly working in the background, making connections while you're sleeping, while you're eating, while you're just walking the dog.
It's a very comforting thought, isn't it? That you don't have to do all the work yourself. Your brain is your partner.
It really is. So let's talk a little bit about building habits. Because even though we don't want to study in a boring way, it's good to have English in our lives every day.
I agree, but it should be a soft habit, something that feels good.
Like our podcast.
Exactly. Listening to a podcast while you're doing the dishes or driving to work, you aren't working, but you are surrounding yourself with the language. Or maybe reading one page of a book before you go to sleep. Just one page. It's not about the distance you travel, it's about the fact that you're moving.
I like to call it English tea time. 10 or 15 minutes where I just enjoy something in English. No pressure, no dictionary, just me and the language, having a quiet moment together.
English tea time. That sounds so cozy. I might start doing that myself, but with coffee.
English coffee break works too. The point is to make it a treat, not a chore. If you look forward to it, you'll keep doing it. And consistency is the real secret. Not intensity, but consistency.
Yes, doing a little bit every day is much better than doing 5 hours once a month. It's like watering a plant. You can't give it 10 liters of water on the first day of the month and then nothing for the rest of the time. It will die. It needs a little bit of water every day.
That's a perfect metaphor. Our English is like a little green plant. We just need to give it a little sunlight and a little water every day, and it will grow all by itself.
And don't forget to talk to the plant.
Yes, talk to your English. Be proud of it. Even if it's just a tiny sprout right now, it's still alive and it's still growing.
I think we should also remind our listeners that they are already doing a great job. The fact that they are listening to this right now in English and understanding us, that's amazing.
It really is. You should take a moment to be proud of yourself. Think about how much you already know. Think about all the words you've already caught from the world around you.
You've come so far, and the journey ahead is going to be even more interesting. There are so many more stories to hear, so many more songs to sing, and so many more serendipity moments waiting for you.
I feel so motivated just talking about this, Leo. I want to go out and notice some new words right now.
Me too. I think I'll go for a walk and see what I can find on the street signs.
That sounds like a great plan. And to our listeners, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope you feel a little more relaxed about your English now. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be curious. Take it slow, be kind to yourself, and just enjoy the process. We'll be here with you every step of the way. Until next time, this is English Cat. Stay cozy and keep listening.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a beautiful English-filled day.